Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Manchester United are looking to appoint an interim manager until the end of the season. Earlier on today, it got announced that Michael Carrick is the interim manager. Today, Manchester United officially sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer following the 4-1 defeat to Watford. Watford was Solskjaer's final game in charge of Manchester United. After the defeat to Watford, Solskjaer said his goodbyes to the players and the staff. Manchester United have paid Solskjaer around 7.75 million because in the summer he signed a 3-year contract with an option of a further year. Reflecting on Solskjaer's sacking, the club released a statement. I haven't read all of the statement. But Solskjaer will always be a legend of Manchester United, and despite him being sacked, we'll always adore him. Reflecting on what he's done for the club. Solskjaer endured 11 years as a player for Man United. He flourished under Sir Alex Ferguson's guidance. He had a proven pedigree when he was a player, but unfortunately he didn't have a proven pedigree as a manager. The club Solskjaer has managed in his managerial career. He obviously managed the Man United reserve team for a couple of years. He obviously managed Cardiff. He only enjoyed a short tenure at Cardiff. He got sacked from Cardiff. The reason he got sacked from Cardiff is because he got them relegated. He also managed Molde. He endured 2 spells at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles with them, but they're not a big club. And of course, Solskjaer managed Manchester United's senior squad. Solskjaer was Manchester United manager for almost 3 years. The reason he did last as long as that is because he's a legend of the club. Disregarding him being a legend of the club, I can assure he would have been sacked a while ago. I think he should have been sacked after the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool. If we'd have sacked him after that game, I can assure that Manchester United would have got Antonio Conte. And after the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool, it said Solskjaer had been given 3 games to save his job. And he only won 1 of them 3 games. But reflecting on that 4-1 defeat to Watford, Manchester United have now lost 4 of their last 5 in the league. And Man United are sitting, 7th? But like I said, reflecting on the poor performances, Solskjaer was partly to blame because his tactics and his team selections were questioned a lot, but not all of the blame stemmed from him. There's also players that had to take responsibility for those poor performances. And this season was Solskjaer's 3rd full season as Man United manager. And I did say at the start of this season that this season was going to be massive for Solskjaer. Solskjaer didn't win a trophy as Manchester United manager. And I said he wasn't capable of winning trophies as manager. Manchester United have not won a... What? Yeah, it will be. Have not won a trophy since 2017. We all wanted Solskjaer to succeed as manager, but he was never going to, was he? The expectations were far too high for him to exceed as Man United manager. And Ollie was in a position that he shouldn't have been in. Yeah, I've seen it! Solskjaer did get appointed in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. In Solskjaer's first 3 months, he was the interim manager. And he did very well as the interim manager. He won like 14 games out of 19 in all competitions. So, reflecting on that, the club decided to give him the job on a permanent basis back in March 2019. But Ollie knew when he did take over at Manchester United it was going to be a massive job. Not only a massive job, a difficult job as well, because Ollie was managing one of the biggest clubs in the world. But Solskjaer ran out of excuses a long time ago, didn't he? Because Manchester United have got a very good squad. But the reason we're not being getting the best out of the players is because it's a team of individuals. They don't actually play as a team, and of course they weren't playing for Solskjaer. We should be winning the league this season because we have got a title winning squad. Man United have not won the Premier League since 2013. Plus, Man United enjoyed a very good summer transfer window this year. Made 4 signings. 3 of the 4 signings we made were major signings, and we spent around £141 million. Solskjaer enjoyed like 5 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. And the board backed Solskjaer as well in the summer transfer window. The Glazers backed him, Ed Woodward backed him, John Murtaugh, our director of football, backed him, and Darren Fletcher backed him. By the way, Solskjaer is the 4th permanent manager to be sacked since Ferguson. Because since Ferguson, Manchester United sacked David Moyes after 10 months. We finished 7th under the David Moyes era. That's the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years. We won the FA Cup under him. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after like 2.5 years, despite him winning 3 trophies in his first season. Mourinho did enjoy 1 good season at Man United. You know, don't get me wrong, there was positives regarding Solskjaer. You know, when Solskjaer was Man United manager, I think he did bring consistency back in certain aspects. I also liked the way he developed the youth. He did make good signings as Manchester United manager. Solskjaer did sign 14 players when he was manager. You know, in the summer of 2019, he recommended Daniel James, Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. In January 2020, he brought Bruno Fernandes in and Odion Ighalo in on loan. In the summer of 2020, he brought Donny van de Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Amad Diallo and Facundo Pellistri. And in this year's summer transfer window, he brought Heaton in, Sancho, Varane and re-signed Ronaldo after 12 years. Man United spent over 400 million under the Solskjaer era. In Solskjaer's first full season, he got us to 3 semi-finals. He also got us a 3rd place finish. In his second full season, he got us to the EFL Cup semi-final and the FA Cup quarter-final and the Europa League final. That was his first major final as Man United manager. But unfortunately we didn't win it. And last season, Ollie got us a 2nd place finish. Ollie also got rid of a lot of players when he was Manchester United manager. You know, he loaned players out and he also got rid of players permanently. You know, Manchester United have not been the same team since Ferguson retired. And a lot of United fans predicted it was all going to go wrong when he retired, which obviously it has done. No one will replicate what Ferguson did. Not in my lifetime, anyway. Ferguson brought success to Manchester United. He won 30 odd trophies, including 13 Premier League titles. But Ferguson didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Man United. So it does take some managers time to settle in. Ferguson was a very long-serving manager. He enjoyed, a 27-year managerial tenure at Man United. But in the last 8 years, Manchester United must have spent over £1 billion on players. We must have brought a good 43, 44 players in since Ferguson retired. And obviously, the next permanent manager that comes in will obviously be inheriting, the players that Solskjaer brought in. He'll be still inheriting some players from the Jose Mourinho era. He'll be inheriting some players here from the Van Gaal era. He'll be inheriting Mata here from the Moyes era. And obviously there's still 2 players here from the Ferguson era. That's Phil Jones and David De Gea. Now obviously, Zinedine Zidane has been spoken about a lot. Brendan Rodgers has also been spoken about. Pochettino, he's been spoken about. Who should replace Solskjaer? Erik Ten Hag's been mentioned as well. Manchester United's next game is Villarreal. That's on Tuesday in the Champions League. That's a massive game for United. And then our next league game is Chelsea away. And that's going to be an extremely difficult game. Manchester United will be offloading players next year. I think Martial is definitely going next year. Martial doesn't get in the team, and Martial is no longer good enough to represent the club. Martial has enjoyed one good season at Man United. That was his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial come back from injury not so long ago, and last season he was out with a knee injury for a while. We got Martial in a deal worth 58 million from Monaco back in 2015. Martial has been at Manchester United for 6.5 years. He's got 3 years left on his contract. Cavani, I think he's also going next year. I can't say I want Cavani to leave though, with the impact he's made since he's come in. Cavani is out with injury until December. Cavani was out with injury earlier on this season. Cavani's got under a year left on his Man United contract. It was back in May he signed that 1-year contract extension. This season is Cavani's second full season at Man United. We got Cavani on a free transfer from PSG. Cavani has got a good pedigree behind him. Look at the amount of silverware he won when he was at PSG. Not only that, he was a long-serving player when he was at PSG. I reckon Lingard will be leaving the club next year, because prior to the Watford game it said Lingard's future at Man United was in doubt after talks over a new contract collapsed. Lingard's current contract at Man United expires next summer. I heard not so long ago that Lingard could leave for just £10 million. West Ham want to re-sign Lingard. The second half of last season, Lingard enjoyed a 4-month loan spell with West Ham and he made an impact. And I'm hearing as well that Lingard is interested in going abroad. Lingard doesn't really get in our team. He's only made one start this season, that was West Ham in the Carabao Cup. But Lingard has been part of the club for a long time. He risen up our academy in that. He's had his good periods at Man United. He's also had his bad periods. Juan Mata, I think he's also leaving next year. Mata's contract at Man United expires next summer. earlier on this year, Juan Mata signed a 1-year contract extension. I can't understand why the club extended his contract for a further year, because Mata doesn't get in the team, plus he's lost that yard of pace and he's ageing up. But despite that, I still think he's had a good career at Manchester United. Mata's been at Manchester United for 7.5 years. He's been a long-serving player, and Mata has made over 200 appearances in all competitions and he's scored over 50 goals. You know, we got Juan Mata back in 2014 from Chelsea for 40 million. We brought him in under the David Moyes era. Van der Beek, he's leaving next year. Well, Van der Beek himself confirmed that he will be leaving in January. Van der Beek has not been given enough game time at Manchester United. Van der Beek did play in the 4-1 defeat to Watford. Well, obviously, he didn't start, but he came on and he made an impact. You know, he would try to make things happen and he scored. That was his second goal for Manchester United. I ain't had much of a perception on Van der Beek though, but overall he is a good player. Van der Beek's endured what a difficult year and a half or so at Man United. You know, this season is Van der Beek's second full season at Man United. You know, we got Van der Beek for 40 million with add-ons included. He's got a contract with Man United till 2025. There's an option of a further year, and he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. Matic, I think he's also leaving the club next year. You know, Matic isn't one of our first choice midfielders, but despite that, he still seems to get his opportunities. He was playing alongside McTominay yesterday in the 4-1 defeat to Watford, and I thought Matic had a poor game. Surprisingly enough, Matic is ahead of Van der Beek in our midfield. I've always had my strong reservations about Matic because he's always been a static midfielder and he's ageing up, but despite that, he has had his good games at United. I think Matic is the only predominant centre defensive mid we've got. You know, Matic has been at Manchester United for 4.5 years. We got Matic back in 2017 from Chelsea for 40 million. I think there's a good chance that Paul Pogba will be leaving the club next year, because it said not so long ago that Man United are prepared to sell Pogba in the January transfer window. Well, it makes sense to cash in for him in January rather than let him go on a free next summer. Pogba may never play for the club again anyway, because he's missing the rest of 2021, because the other week he suffered a thigh injury in France training. Pogba has now done his 3-match ban. Reports from France did say the other week though that Pogba wanted to renew his contract with Man United, but reportedly on one condition, that he's made the Premier League's highest paid player. So basically he said, I want to overtake Ronaldo as the highest paid player. At the moment, Pogba receives around 290 grand a week on his current contract, and Pogba's current contract at Man United expires next summer. Before the start of this season, Pogba rejected a new Man United contract offer. Dalot, I think he's also going next year, because Dalot doesn't really get in the team. You know, Dalot will only play when Bissaka's not available. Dalot's our backup right back to Bissaka. Dalot was out on loan with AC Milan last season, so reflecting on that, he gained some experience, and we got Dalot around 3 years ago from Porto. We paid £19 million for him, and Dalot's got a contract with the club until 2023. And Tellez, I think he's also going next year as well, because Tellez is another one that doesn't really get in the team. You know, Tellez will only play when Shaw's not available. So I don't have much of a perception on Tellez, but he is a decent left back. The reason we brought Tellez in was to provide competition for Shaw. Tellez was out with injury earlier on this season. We got Tellez for 15.4 million from Porto. Jones and Bailly, I think they're leaving next year, and Dean Henderson wants to go out on loan because Dean Henderson doesn't get his opportunities now because De Gea reclaimed that #1 spot back. So there you go. But like I say, there's inconsistent players at Manchester United. You know, you've got Martial, that's not good enough to represent the club, but he doesn't get in the team anyway. Revert back to what I mentioned earlier on. You know, Lingard, he's another one not good enough to represent the club, but he doesn't really get in the team. Revert back to what I said about him earlier on. You know, Fred and McTominay, they're not good enough to represent the club. Fred and McTominay play a hell of a lot of games together in the centre midfield. Jones, he's not good enough to represent the club, but Jones doesn't get in the team anyway. Lindelof, he's another one, not good enough to represent the club. And Maguire and Shaw, they have not been good enough this season, but I'm sure under a new manager, Maguire and Shaw will regain their form. But, you know, you have got very, very good players at Manchester United. You know, you've got the best player in the world overall in Ronaldo. You've got Rashford, that's a good player. You've got Cavani, that's a good player. You've got Fernandes, that's a good player. You've got Sancho, that's a good player overall, but he's been poor for Man United so far. Hopefully, under a new manager, we'll get the best out of Sancho. Did I say Greenwood? Yeah, Greenwood's a talented player. You've got Van der Beek, that's a good player. You've got Pogba, that's a good player. You've got Bissaka, that's a good player. You've got Bailly, that's a good centre-half, but like I said, doesn't get regular game time. You've got Varane, that's a good centre-half, but Varane is out with injury at the moment. He's got a hamstring injury. Varane is out for 2 to 3 weeks. It's a second injury Varane has endured because not so long ago, Varane had a groin injury and he was out with that groin injury for a few weeks. And you've got De Gea, you know, that's a very, very good goalkeeper. I've got to give De Gea credit because I think he's done really, really well so far this season. So anyway guys, there'll be another video coming up soon. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. And take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.